So, you want to be a millionaire? Great! That's awesome! You see, millionaires and billionaires think differently. And today we're going to talk about a millionaire habit, and this millionaire habit is millionaire habit number 1. Take 100% responsibility for your life. So, let's get started. Ask any billionaire and they will tell you that they take 100% responsibility for their life. Billionaires take 100% responsibility for their success. They know that their success is a result of the choices they made and the work that they put in. And deep down we know this, right? But it's so easy to blame others. You see, it's so easy that even I fell for it this weekend. Not for long, but long enough that I had to give myself a big kick in the butt. See, here's what happened. As you know, both my kids are sailors, and this weekend was the end-of-year regatta in Corpus Christi, here in Texas. Now, the end-of-year regatta is always a big deal because in addition to the regular trophies, the kids are also being rewarded for their year-long performance. And we already knew that my son Julius would be the Texas state champion. Yeah, okay. Anyhow, so he would be the Texas state champion no matter how he finishes the regatta, because Julius and his skipper Lucy did an amazing job all year long, and they were so far ahead of everybody else that nobody could take the title from them. Now, for my daughter Vivian, it was a different story. So Vivian was currently in 4th place, and she needed a win in this regatta to move up to 3rd place. And since only the top 3 kids are getting an award, this regatta was a matter of either getting a trophy for the overall performance or not. So while we were driving down to Corpus Christi, we talked about it. We talked about how she can do it, how the wind conditions will be light, and how she's really good in light wind. And Julius gave her many tips about sailing Corpus Christi. In short, Vivian was all fired up and ready to rock it. And she did. You see, the wind conditions this weekend were very difficult since the wind would move from north to south throughout the weekend. And when the wind clocks around like this, it usually starts with very strong winds, and then the wind dies while it is changing directions, and once it has settled in, it picks up again. Now, Vivian and her skipper James mastered these tricky conditions, and they pulled it off! 1st place! See, at the end of the regatta, there was the award ceremony. And first, they handed out the awards for this regatta. And Vivian and James are on the right in this picture here with very big smiles. And now it was time for the end-of-year rewards. See, at first they announced the 5th place, and then they announced the 4th place, and then the 3rd place, and it wasn't Vivian. Wow. I thought to myself, well, okay, Vivian must have gotten 2nd somehow. And they announced the 2nd place, and it wasn't Vivian. And then they announced the 1st place, and as expected, it was Lucy and Julius. And I couldn't believe it. Why didn't Vivian get 3rd place? What happened? I looked at her, and I could see how disappointed she was. So since I was standing right next to her coach, I asked him, dude, what happened? Why didn't Vivian get 3rd place? And he just said, well, she wasn't eligible. Turns out that we overlooked a small technicality. In order to be eligible for the award, it's not only important that you attend at least 7 regattas, which we did, but it's also important where you attend them. Long story short, because of a small technicality, Vivian didn't win the award. And I felt anger and frustration, and I thought, this is not fair. She worked hard for it. She deserves it. And then in my head, I started blaming others. Well, these are stupid rules and they don't make sense. And I thought to myself, why didn't her coach tell her that she had to attend 1 more regatta? It's his fault. And I had a bunch of other it's their fault excuses. Does this sound familiar at all? If it does, if this resonates with you, click on like and let me know that I'm not the only one who sometimes feel this way. Oh, and while you're at it, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell, because this way you get notified whenever I release a new video. Anyhow, so I had all these emotions, and then I realized it's nobody's fault but mine. Millionaire habit number 1, take 100% responsibility. I realized that instead of relying on her coach, I could have easily looked up the rules. And I realized that if I didn't like the rules, I could volunteer to be on the board and maybe make a case for changing the rules. And there are probably a few other things that I could have done. Long story short, it was 100% my responsibility. I need to stop blaming others. And as I was driving back from Corpus Christi to Austin, I remembered the times in my life when I blamed others. You see, when I was working for IBM, I blamed my boss for not making more money, and I blamed the government because they took so much in taxes. I blamed the customers because they're so difficult. And trust me, I had a long list of people and circumstances to blame. Do you know who wasn't on that list? Me. And you see, at that time, I read the book Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And in this book, Tony talks about taking 100% responsibility for your life. And I started doing it. I threw away my long list of excuses and people to blame, and I made a new list of people who were responsible for my success and my failure. And there was only one person on that list. Me. You see, when I started doing this, my life turned around. Once I started taking 100% responsibility for my life, things changed. In 2002, I quit my job at IBM and moved all the way from Munich in Germany to Austin, Texas to become a trader. And in the beginning, I made the same mistakes. I blamed the markets for being difficult to trade. I blamed my broker for lousy fills. I blamed my mentor for not giving me the real secrets. You know what I mean, right? And I did that until I read this quote. Don't wish it was easier, wish that you were better. See, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If it was easy, everybody would be a millionaire. If it was easy, you see, you get the idea. And I stopped blaming others and I started working on myself. I followed Warren Buffett's advice because he's a smart dude, and he says the best investment is an investment in yourself. And I did it. I invested in training, education, and coaching, and the rest, as they say, is history. So how do you take 100% responsibility for your life? Well, you see, it's easy to blame others for your life. It's easy to blame circumstances like the economy for your life. It's easy to point the finger at other people and say, because of you, I'm not successful. But we all know that this is not true. The only person who is responsibility for your success is you. And once you understand this truth and you act accordingly, your life will change forever. Right now, think about the people or circumstance that you blame for your current state. And then really take a minute and think about this. How can I take 100% responsibility for my life? What can I do to change this? I know it's hard. I know that sometimes it feels that there's nothing that you can do, but trust me, there is. See, it took me a moment, but then I realized this weekend that it was not Vivian's coach's responsibility, and that it was not the stupid rules that caused her not getting a trophy. It was my responsibility. Now, leave a comment and let me know for what you are taking responsibility right now. Let me know what you are changing in your life. I'm looking forward to reading your comments, and make sure that you like this video and subscribe to this channel, and always hit the little notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new video. All right, do this now, and I'll talk to you very soon.